All right. Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes, we
cool.
can.
All right. Hello everyone, awesome founders. I'd like to welcome you to the Sustainable Development Goals Innovation Roadshow, ASEAN Edition. My name is Gina Kim. I am a startup program manager at AWS, and I want to thank you again for taking your time to join us today. We are going to have a very interesting session throughout 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Singapore time. And I will introduce a background of how this SDG Roadshow has initiated. So, Amazon had recently made a climate pledge that commits the company to reach net zero carbon emission by the year of 2040. And I don't think it's only Amazon. I mean, sustainability is a buzzword for everyone in everywhere. And we want to actually like groom the startups with the solutions to help those sustainable development in government, in health, in education. And at AWS, we actually have a very customized startup supporting programs for those solutions. About the programs, we will get back to you a little bit later, but on the event itself. So, for that SDG innovation, we started this roadshow from last May, have a APAC launch in Singapore, moving to Korea in June, and now in September in for ASEAN, and we will have Japan and Australia version later on. So we are touching upon each countries within the region and listen to stories from the startups in each country on how they tackle those sustainable issues with their solution, how they help to achieve sustainability in their own domains of expertise. So here is the program for today. Uh, we will start from explaining how you use the Airmeat and how you can actually join the AWS startup programs later on. But after that, when we actually kick off the sessions, you will expect to hear from the SDG experts, Hester from Epic Angels, Ruxia from UNDP, who will have a discussion on tech for good. And after that, we have health tech panel, which will share their stories and how their solution is helping to develop sustainability in each area. And we also have edutech startups who are going to dive deep into those discussion how education and their solution is changing the world. And this is not it. We also have a investor connect after the first section of the roadshow. This Investor Connect is actually exclusive events for the startup program members. So if you want to have um, a ticket and participate to this part of the event, please take a picture of this QR code and find out how you register. I will go back to the program of the Investor Connect here. We have a series of events for the Investor Connect as well. We have investor panel, and then you will actually have a networking session with all those investors. So look out for it. And here are our distinguished speakers. We have Hester from Epic Angels, Ruxia from UNDP, that's for the Tech for Good session. And for the health tag, we have Dr. Kyrul from Remedy, Adrian from Biogenes Technology, Beyond from Mind the Fate. For education panel, we have Natalie Doe from ELSA, and I'm sorry, where are you? Adi from Eduku. And we have the investors as well. Jetu from Kaizen Best, Chris from Funk VC, Jane from Disrupt Technology Venture, Artie from Persetia, and Calvin from Sovereigns Capital. So now, in order for you to have a very full session, you'll have to navigate here and there in this platform called Airmeat. And Robin will walk you through how you will actually have fun with Airmeat. Robin, over to you.
Thank you very much, Gina, for that great introduction. Rishav, I cannot share my screen right now. Can you check? So I will give you a little bit of an insight into how to use Airmeat. So you have already managed to log into the platform, so thank you for that. There's a couple of tips and tricks that I want all of you to know about to make this event more fun for you and to know what to expect for today. So when you came into the event, you saw this area. We call it the reception area. You can read up more information here about the SDG Innovation Roadshow, not just the ASEAN one, but all the other ones as well. You can watch the video on how to join the AWS Ad Start and Startup Ramp program that I'm going to share about a little bit more in a second. And you can go back here to actually check the schedule at the left top corner of your screen where you see the big arrow. Then if you are not 100% comfortable in, for example, English, there's quite a few languages that you can use this platform in. If you want to change your language, go to the right side of your screen. You should be seeing an options menu there, and then you can select the language that you prefer. Then to make it all also engaging for the audience to join into the conversations, into to asking questions to the speakers, etc., we've got something on Airmeat which is called the leaderboard. Basically, we're giving out prizes to the attendees and participants that are most engaged throughout the session. So you can collect points throughout the session by basically engaging with everything that we're doing here. One of the things that we're going to be doing is asking you all questions, poll questions. They will pop up in the screen. So by answering those and providing a little bit of information on who's watching this session, you're also going to collect points. After today's events, we will contact the different participants that ended up number 1, 2, and 3 in the leaderboard. Okay, and with that, I like to go to the first poll just for practice. I'm going to pop it on the screen. Give me 1 second. Here it should be. So the question is, I'm assuming a lot of you do like to do a little bit of networking today. So who would you like to network with? Entrepreneurs, startup employees, investors, mentors, customers, or all of the above? I will give you a few seconds to vote. So far, nobody wants to network with entrepreneurs. That makes me really sad. So I cannot vote myself at the moment. Okay, so I'm closing the poll. And you should be seeing the results right now. I don't see the result right now. Okay, so we ended up with most people wanting to meet entrepreneurs. A few of you, actually equally many want to meet investors. That's perfect because that's why we're doing Investor Connect for today. None of you need customers, weird. And some of you want to meet all of the above. You're going to have a field day today. We're going to do this a couple of times. Also later on, there's going to be very quick questions. So please join in. Also, you can have a chat about it on the message board or wherever else. Okay, I will be handling my own polls, Risha, so don't do them. Okay. So at the end of the main program, around 5 o'clock, there will be networking for everybody who is here. We're doing that in something which is called Fluid Space. When we get to that part of the program, I will explain you about it again. It very much works like the general networking area at physical conferences that you might have been to. So you can move around with your avatar on your screen. And when you move to somebody else, you can start talking to that person. Like I said, I will explain it again later, but that's what we're going to do later on during the networking. Okay, if at any point in time you experience any problems, you might hear me mention the name Rishav every now and then, because he is our technical genius for today, and he is helping me and all the speakers making sure that we're doing the right things on our screen. So we have Rishav Pandey, we have Faiza Imro Atul, and we have Darvis Arifin Mohammed. They're all in the Startup Buddy team. They are available for you on the chat or anywhere else that you need them. If you have any technical difficulties, problems, you want to know something about the Startup Ramp or Head Start program, whatever it is, search for their names, please, and they will help answer it. I know that everybody will be reaching out to me as well, because that happens every event. As you can tell, I'm busy, so I won't be responding. I will be responding after the event, so please reach out to them. Okay, then finally, what I recommend, if you're based in Singapore or in ASEAN, most of you are, it should be getting close to the evening. So what I would do if I were you is sit back, relax, get a snack and get a drink and enjoy the event. Then I'm going to go to another quick poll to have a little bit of an idea of who is here today. Give me a few seconds to open that up again for you. So the question is what you're an expert in, or what you feel that you're best in. Since this is an event around sustainability development goals of the UN, maybe you're an expert in that. Maybe you're working in ed tech, health tech, or government tech. Maybe some of you are not an expert in anything yet, and you're just here to learn today. Take a few seconds to please vote. I know there should be at least 4 people who are experts in cloud technology. Okay, I'm going to close the poll. Was that visible on the screen, Rishav? Put it in chat, please, if it wasn't. So this should give us a little bit of an idea who is here. I think, okay, that's really interesting. So about half of you are here to become an expert. The other half of you are experts in some field, one field or another. Most of you in cloud technology, that's great. And some of you in the other areas that we're talking about today. Okay, thank you very much. Then I like to explain for a minute, like Gina already said, the AWS Head Start and Startup Ramp program, because this entire program is made possible by AWS Head Start and Startup Ramp. Now, some of you might be new to it. Others I know are already a member. So please add on everything that I might be forgetting to share about it. So there are 2 separate programs within AWS to support startups, in this case in the APAC region. The Startup Ramp program, it focuses on government-related and health tech-related startups in different stages. So we get this question quite a lot, like, I'm a later stage company, can I leverage on the program? Yes, you can. For later stage companies, actually the benefits that are in the program are bigger, higher, more conducive than for the very early stage one. But if you're a very early stage company, you just started out, you should definitely also apply. Head Start, as the name says, is for education companies. Can be platforms, can be companies that work with institutes of higher learning, but also primary school, etc. So that's what the programs focus on. Then again, I have a quick poll question. Maybe you launch it anyway, Rishav. So I assumed, since Amazon is one of the biggest companies in the world, all of you already know what AWS Cloud is. But for a quick test, I do like to ask, can you launch the poll, Rishav? So what do you think? Is AWS Cloud, does it stand for innovation? Does it stand for... Nobody voted. Yeah, you can vote now. For cost reduction, does it help startups develop quickly? Does AWS Cloud want to be net zero by 2040? If you paid attention to Gina, you know the answer. Or all of the above? Or do you think that AWS Cloud has got something to do with the news that you see in the evening where they're talking about rain and stuff like that? So far, nobody thinks we're actually talking about clouds. That's great. Okay, closing the poll. Okay, all of the above. Obviously, that's the correct answer. AWS Cloud, the reason that a lot of startups use it is because it actually helps small companies like my own get off the ground very quickly. It helps you reduce cost. For those people who are a little bit older like me, you still remember probably that you had to go to a server location and a very secure area where bank systems were running, etc. All of that is in the past. All of that gets fixed now by using AWS Cloud. So the AWS At Start and Startup Ramp program have a lot of benefits when you join them. Actually, the benefit of all, the main benefit of all, which is not here on the slide, is that it's a free program. There's no equity. Basically, there's no reason not to join. What do you get when you're applying and joining? So depending on the scale of your business, you're eligible for AWS credits. Smaller companies less, larger companies more. You can get a lot of training. You can connect to mentors, including the ones that we have here today on the event. There's specific market opportunities for those that have been reading the AWS At Start newsletters for Singapore. Recently, there's been an opportunity to work for specific education institutes in Singapore through the program. We're having communities and networking events like we're doing today, and you can post a badge on your website if you want to show off that you're in the Startup Ramp or At Start program. To make that a little bit more concrete, I like to connect those benefits to my own company. We are actually in the process of migrating from old ASP.NET frameworks and servers to a totally new Linux environment and a new .NET framework for the startup buddy. The whole platform is going to be radically different. You're going to be able to see that hopefully in January or February. But our development team is small. So we don't know everything about everything that we could be doing within AWS Cloud. So in our case, Ivan is basically our point of contact for a lot of technical questions. And Darvis regularly connects to him. And then Ivan helps us reach out to all the experts within their organization to actually help us do a migration like that. This is super useful if you're a small startup, because you're simply too small at this stage usually to have expertise on everything that you would be able to do. Now, for something like a migration, to actually get started, you need to educate yourself. So there's also a lot of training options. You can get discounts on the trainings, or a lot of them are free. So actually, to get started on this project for us, we have basically read a lot of the resources that are available, and that way educated ourselves to make sure that we're able to make this step. And then obviously the credits help a lot. When you're an early stage company, you're short of time, of money, of resources, of everything. So getting the credits when you're running on AWS, in our case, we're a member in the Head Start program, currently saves us around 12 months of running credits, running AWS at our own expense. So that's a huge help. You can spend that money on building your business in other areas like marketing, etc. Then on top of the AWS At Start and Startup Ramp program, you can connect to the Startup Buddy using the program code that I'm going to share to you today. With that, you're going to be able to leverage all these resources that you see here on the screen for free. And I see I'm way behind time, so I'm going to go a little bit faster. If you want to know more about the program, read up on it. you can scan this QR code or go to the website that's printed above. There you can read all the details about the programs. The way it works is you sign up on the Startup Buddy. If you do that by 5:30 Singapore time today, so half an hour before Investor Connect, we'll make sure you still have access to that as well. And when you register, make sure to use one of these two program codes. So if you want to join EdStart because you're an education company, use AWS EdStart 2022, as your program code. If you want to join Startup Ramp, use the code that's below there. From there, you're going to be guided through the sign-up flow, so you just follow the steps. Once you have finished the application process, then the EdStart or Startup Ramp program will look at your application and they will follow up with you, give you access to the benefits, etc. When you have used the program code, the access to the Startup Buddy is immediately there for you. So joining into the events, connecting to the investors on the Startup Buddy, all those things, why people are joining the Startup Buddy, you can start using immediately. And with that, I like to go to my final poll, and I like next speakers to start preparing to be ready for their talk. Rishabh, can you put this last poll on the slides, please? So what are the AWS EdStart Startup Ramp times the Startup Buddy benefits? Networking, AWS credits, tech and cloud knowledge, education, the Startup Buddy access, or you have no clue what I'm talking about because you were mentally gone for the past 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, let's close the poll to see what the final judgment is. This was a little bit of a trick question. It's basically all of the above. I think you could have chosen all of them, but basically all of these options are available to you when you join the program. So I hope I've explained very well why you should want to join the EdStart and Startup Ramp program. If you have additional questions, just reach out to me, to the team, or to anybody from AWS, or go to the website. With that, I want to go into the juicy part of today's program, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen to allow everybody else back on the stage. Esther, Ruxiao, and Gina, you're there. Thank you, everyone. Gina, take it away if you like.
Hi everyone.
Hi, good afternoon. Sorry for that little technical glitch over there. Welcome once again to our Tech for Good panel. My name is Tuan. I'm with the public sector startup team at AWS. And joining me today on this very exciting first panel is Hester from the Epic Angels and Roselle from the United Nations Development Program. As we know, the world has changed drastically since the Sustainable Development Goals were first introduced in 2015. According to the latest progress report, we are facing a climate crisis like never before. In particular, the COVID-19 pandemic has actually threatened our decades of progress in global health, and it has also deepened a global learning crisis. I want to now illustrate the magnitude of this learning crisis. Rashid, if you can help to pull up that first poll for the members of the audience, please. So over the past 2 years, it is estimated that around 140 million children missed their class time because of COVID-19. And it is not just class time that they are missing. It is also estimated that they will be losing a significant amount of lifetime earning. And I want you to make a guess now whether it is 128 billion US dollars or 2.5 trillion US dollars or 17 trillion US dollars that these 140 million children would stand to lose. All right. Rishabh, could you help us to share the poll results, please? I'm not able to see it on my end. Well, while we are waiting for the poll result, I want to just say that as much as COVID-19 has disrupted our way of life, it is also possibly the most effective chief innovation officer. More than ever, it has actually accelerated our path to science and technology innovation as we are working towards the SDGs. And this is the very first question that I would like to invite our speakers to share their thoughts with us, how it is that they and their organizations have actually been harnessing technology innovation for the SDGs. And since this is a product of the UN, I would like to first invite Rosal to introduce herself and give us her thoughts. Rosal, please.
Hi everyone, thank you so much, Troy, and thank you so much, AWS team and the Startup Buddy for having me. My name is Rochelle, and sorry, I've been traveling and I'm based in China, so sometimes internet has given me a lot of challenge. I'm the partnership and innovative financing consultant at UNDP. So the project that I'm currently working on is called Youth Collab. It's actually a program for youth, especially young social entrepreneurs and young innovators who are achieving the SDGs. So, co-created in 2017 by UNDP and City Foundation, the Youth Collab program aims to establish a common agenda for countries and different stakeholders to really invest in and empower young people to accelerate and also to implement the SDGs through leadership, social innovation, entrepreneurship, and of course, technology. So at this project, we are developing young people's 21st century skills, digital skills, and catalyzing and sustaining youth-led startups and social entrepreneurs across the region. So yes, we do have a lot of startups that are tech-driven, and I think they are like contributing to the community quite a lot, especially during the COVID. So I'm hoping to share one or two examples later in this panel. So we have seen that young social innovators are facing some challenges, and we are here to tackle these challenges. First of all, they are weak in individual capabilities, and this includes technical literacy, financial literacy, etc. And also, we noticed that there's a lack of availability and also impact of business support services for all tech startups and young startups as well. And there's a lack of social networks for young social entrepreneurs. So that's why I think this kind of SDG roadshows is quite important, because it really provides a platform for everyone to connect and also to learn from each other. And lastly, as a development agency, we are kind of looking into the bigger picture. We found that there's a lack of enabling environment, including relevant policy, regulations, and financing mechanism. So we are also doing quite a lot of research to see how we can better enhance the
It looks like
ecosystem, the SDGs. So specifically at this project, we have a startup support program. Sorry.
no, please continue, Rosal.
Yeah. So we have a startup. Oh, sorry. I was saying we have a startup support program for all SDG innovators. We're aiming to capture and also to extend the lifespan of all the it have a skill platform. So it's self-paced learning platform where like there are more than 20 modules available. So everyone, it's accessible for everyone. And also it's free of charge. So I hope everyone can go visit. It's called youthcollab-learn.org. And also we have opportunity database. We have a very active community, and we send out newsletters to entrepreneurs quite a lot. And also we have a mentoring platform. As a UN agency, we have a large network with partners, including AWS. So we are doing kind of cooperative volunteering program with most of them. And also at the Spiral program, we have an account management system. So each startup will be assigned with a dedicated account manager to kind of holding with them and to support them throughout the whole journey. So our project is now in our 5th year. So lots of our startups have grown, and they are kind of looking for scale up. So now we have a virtual acceleration program for all of them, really focusing on enhancing their investment readiness, and it's called Springboard Plus program. So far at Youth Collab, we have supported 1,200 startups across 28 countries in this region, of course, including ASEAN region. And collectively, these startups have impacted more than 70,000 livelihoods in this region. So yes, that's basically what we do and how we support SDG solutions at UNDP. Thank you.
Well, I'm really pleasantly surprised that the magnitude of startup support by the UNDP has grown so much over the past couple of years to the tune of thousands. That's always very helpful to note. And now I want to just return to the poll that we took earlier. And indeed, the impact of students losing out on their class time because of COVID-19 were estimated to result in a total income loss of about 17 trillion US dollars. So just about half of you have made that guess right, and the other half underestimated the impact of this trend. And I want to now segue that into Hester, who is a edtech expert, also for her to also share her perspectives on how edtech innovations could actually help to mitigate this significant impact on the learning crisis. Hester, could I invite you to introduce yourself and also to share your thoughts on technology innovation for the SDG?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Tuan, and thank you everyone for having me. It's a real pleasure being here. Shortly about Epic Angels, we are a female angel investment collective. We make angel investing more accessible to women to balance the 2.4% of decision makers in venture capital and increase that number a little bit more. And while we are at it, we support female founded companies, or at least one female in the core team. My area is the edtech space. We have quite some angels who have had a great career, would like to pay it forward, and would like to become part of a company that has a good impact in the world. So education technology is definitely part of this. If we talk about education technology, then we talk about SDG 4, right? Quality education. And in my view, this can be viewed through 3 lenses, basically access to education, quality of education, and relevance of education. And this is where technology can actually help improve the situation. Now, there's a few specific problems with education in Southeast Asia that do not exist in other regions. And therefore, we also see a few specific solutions to those problems. So some of these are, for example, in Southeast Asia, not everyone has access to quality education, right? Because they do not have access to capital. So, for example, in Philippines alone, there's 18.5 million youth that cannot afford higher education. So a very specific solution that we see here is, for example, the company InvestEd, which is an edtech/fintech, who provides capital plus counseling to this youth to make it affordable, but also prepare them to doing interviews, for example, and become better at financial planning. Another issue that we see is teacher quality and capability. In quite a few countries here in the region, anyone with a high school diploma can become a teacher. Also, teachers are not so digitally savvy, right? So there's a few specific solutions for that. So, for example, Acadesia, who provides a platform, is as easy to use as Facebook to help teachers become more effective teachers using tech and digital infrastructure as everything has moved online. Or Hey Hi is another one that has like very intuitive whiteboard functionality, quite small but super effective for teachers and easy to use. Another one is infrastructure, right? We talked about it, and here we come also to the pandemic. With huge countries like Indonesia, right, who has more than 200 million inhabitants, or Philippines, they have large rural areas. And during the pandemic, these rural areas had no internet access, right? Overall in the country, for both countries, it's lower than 50% internet penetration. So you can imagine the results that that gave when the pandemic hit. Now, there are specific companies like Ruang Guru in Indonesia who help make up for learning losses in the region. So they complement schools. As schools are opening now again, they are still very useful by providing online tutoring in addition to school. And as you said, Tuan, I think it's very interesting how the pandemic was a very effective, what did you say, Chief Innovation Officer? Because actually the World Economic Forum reported that on average students retain 25 to 60% more material when learning online. So actually, as schools reopen again, edtech solutions that were sometimes even just thought of during the pandemic, hopefully will stay in place, and people can also use it for lifelong learning, etc.
Well, it's really interesting that you brought up all of these examples, Hester. As I was going through them, I was also wondering how, as angel investors, you have actually been able to identify these very good emerging innovators from all across Southeast Asia. And I think this point could actually be of interest to a lot of the startups in our members today.
Yes, well, due to my passion for the segment, I come across a lot of them through my connection with accelerators, where I'm a mentor, for example, or connection with universities here in Singapore. So I really enjoy working with founders, and I think I find them and they find me. There's a few very specific issues. Yeah, I would say it's a certain dynamic in education technology that makes it harder than fintech, for example. Just to give you an example, um, on one hand, the equity investments tripled in 2021 versus 2020. So it has really taken a flight. Yet it is still only 1/7 of the equity that was put into fintechs. Just to give you an idea. And why is that? Investors are a bit slow to invest in education technology because typically sales cycles are long, right? You're dealing with schools. Schools typically do not want to put a half-baked product, which is seen like an MVP, in front of kids because they don't want to let the kids be the guinea pigs. So you really have to convince the school or go via the Ministry of Education if you target the private sector, which is a very long process to be approved by on the ministry level. If you go B2C, it needs to be curriculum aligned. You need to convince the parents, needs to be validated by the parents. B2G is also long. So sales cycles of 3 to 6 months are normal, and sometimes that even adds up to a year. So that is one of the few very specific challenges in the education technology sector. But having said that, as I just mentioned, there are great examples in the region that really help target the issues very specific to Southeast Asia.
I absolutely agree with you there, Hester. In fact, I always believe that the innovations that we have are only as good as the people and the team behind such innovations. And that actually brings us to the next conversation on human capital. Rochelle, you have been focusing and talking a lot about youth engagement. And of course, Hester, you introduced yourself as working on a community of female angels and female founders. In the interest of time, I would like for this to also be our closing remark. What it is that have been some of the more exciting success stories that you have got throughout your journey, engaging with youth, engaging with female investors. and what do you think Southeast Asia could do more in this regard? Rochelle, I would like to go back to you, please.
Sure. Thank you so much. So, in the interest of time, I will just maybe highlight one example of female tech entrepreneurs from the ASEAN countries. This startup is actually called AI for Golf. So it's a participatory AI solution for public service to empower citizens and also to enable responsive action in the public sector. I think it combines agile technology, community engagement, and governance, etc. So during the COVID, this startup has developed a COVID-19 digital triage bot in collaboration with the Department of Health of Philippines. So it helps the medical professional to confirm cases and also create a predictive modeling of numbers, of people infected based on people infected nearby and their location tracking. So it has achieved great impact with 300,000 subscribers and 4.5 million interactions. So this startup has been with us from the very, very beginning. And, the founder is a female entrepreneur, and she did face some, difficulties in the very beginning, such as access to fundings, and also, female entrepreneurs, sometimes they are less confident compared with their male counterpart, etc. So I think it's very important. Yeah, so we have all seen that young people have the potential, and women entrepreneurs also have the potential. So it's really important to, I think, establish these role models in the community, because we have spoken with a lot of young girls, and they said, "Oh, we'd love to see more successful cases. We would love to be inspired. We would love to see more trailblazers." So from UNDP and Youth Collab, we are hoping to work with more angel investors and also ecosystem stakeholders to create a safe space for our young girls and women to test out their innovative solutions.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Especially tech.
Thanks so much, Roselle. I hope that now that you are connected with Hester here, she could also help as one of the models and mentors for some of these female founders that you're working with. Hester, please share with us more about this very exclusive female angels club that you have been building.
Yeah, yeah, no, very much. No, if we talk about EdTech and some success stories, I think it is very important to build EdTech in Southeast Asia by amplifying these success stories. So, for example, Lingo Ace, who's the only EdTech unicorn really bred in the region, that is a success story. The founders understand how the future of learning, what the key success factors are of the future of learning. Actually, next week we speak with them and with investors. On the 8th of September, we go in depth on the state of EdTech in Southeast Asia, also with Lingo Ace and Kaizenvest and the government. Apart from that, I think what Southeast Asia, but that actually goes more for Singapore. What I would love to see more of is the recognition of talent regardless of degrees. In Singapore, it is considered the academic performance is considered the precondition for a successful career. However, there's many more factors that go into this, and actually, there's many talented people, young and old, who have unique talents, however, do not have the degrees because of the conventional education system. So that is where I think a lot of potential talent is still there and available and could be picked up and very valuable in the labor market if the definition of talent is widened and loosened a bit to look beyond degrees and grades.
Well, we have seen a lot of billionaire college dropouts in the world. So I absolutely agree with you there too, Hester. And with that, thank you very much, Hester and Roselle, for the conversation. I'll pass the time back to Robin to get us started on the next one. Robin, please.
Thank you very much for this great panel. We're quickly gonna close off this session. We're back in 1 minute to allow all other panelists back in. I'll see you back in 1 minute over here.
All right.